Hello and welcome to the revision of nationalism in Europe, a very important topic to be questioned in the board. I shall make my level best to simplify the concept for you children. Let us first talk about the first interpretation of Frederick Sero's painting, the first image. The image, the Statue of Liberty, and the nations who are marching towards this statue to pay homage. Homage means tribute. They are marching towards this statue with a belief that they will transform into free nations, liberal nations. This Statue of Liberty bears a torch in one hand and the Charter or the Book of Rights in another hand. This means the people will not be now subjugated or dominated by the kings, but they will be having rights. That torch is beckoning or calling these people to move from ignorance towards light. On the earth, it is at the foot of the statue, we can see the remains, shattered remains, the broken remains of the symbol of absolutism, that is monarchy is shattered, is broken, and now people's rule will be replaced. This painting is a vision of Frederick Sero. It is an imagination this artist painted in 1848, and it is his vision which is called as utopian vision, which is unreal. He believes that one day the world will transform and they will attain this liberties. The identification is through the torch, through the charter, and in the heavens above are gazing this statue and the procession of the people by Lord Jesus Christ and many angels, and all these nations which are followed by first leading USA, Switzerland, and many other nations, Germany, Ireland, Belgium, many such nations are bearing the tricolor which has replaced the royal flag, and they are marching towards that symbolic representation of liberty, equality, and fraternity. This is the vision of Frederick Sero, an artist, French artist, who has described this image. Next, we shall study about Napoleonic Code. Napoleon is called as the modernizer because he brought about tremendous changes after coronating himself as the Emperor of France 1804. Wherever Napoleon's army went, they were called as Harbinger. Harbinger, Harbinger, means one who brings good news. They are called as the bringers of good news because they are bringing so many changes in the trade, and they have made the concept of trade easy, and the tax which was collected at different checking points, that has reduced. Now the the code was exported to the regions wherever they went. They have taken this code. This code is also called as Napoleon Civil Code. This simplified the administrative system. The feudal system which existed, the medieval system of landholding, he abolished that feudal system. He freed the peasants from serfdom and manorial dues. It is manorial, Menorial, the dues which were the taxes or the duty or the payment which they were making to the landlords, and the serfdom is working with the landlords for many years because they have taken debts from them. From all this bondage they were freed. The guilds, the merchant associations which were having restrictions, those guilds were removed, the trade restrictions were removed. Now there is a free trade. Transport and communication system was improved. People can move from one place to another and make their sales possible. Now there were uniform laws. There was a standardized system of weights and measures. One currency from 30 currencies, the currencies have come down. Zollverein has also done these attempts, but the role of Napoleon and his code in simplifying the administrative system and reducing the complications and improving the army and the boundary of France, the credit goes to Napoleon. Napoleon as a modernizer. Liberalism, the word is derived from liber. Please note the change. Liber, which means free. Free roll of middle class. Free roll. This is a universal law where everybody is free. There is political equality. In economic equality, free trade, movement of goods from one country to another, trade barriers are removed, and the collection of taxes at different points is removed. The currency is also coming down from 30 plus currencies, it is coming down to 2. End of autocracy, and there will be people's rule. End of feudalism or medieval system of land holding, and there will be a constitution which will be running through parliament. Zollverein or the customs union, which was brought about by Prussia, wherein the nations, almost German countries, German nations, 39 states, German Confederacy, and many other countries of Europe, where the leader was Prussia. The attempt was made to lift the trade barriers and make a free movement of goods. This ensured that the measures will be standardized, standard weights and measures, and there were many measuring units. For example, from France to Denmark, when the product is taken, the measuring unit may differ. In one area, it may be 98 centimeters. In our country, it is called as centimeters for meter, if we say. In another region, it may be 104. In another region, it may be 118. So to make these differences uniform, uniform measuring unit LA was taken into consideration. Trade restrictions are removed, transport communication were improvised, railways were improvised, and there was free movement. And through this Zollverein, it is also an attempt to make economic unification of the countries of Europe. Conservatism, as the word itself says, those people who conserve, the group of people who believe that the king's rule is good and prosperous, who are opposing to change, who do not want to change, who may accept the change but slowly and gradually. They want to protect the king's rule and the monarchy they want to protect. They are believing in modernization, and they also believe in efficient bureaucracy administrative system, the officers where laws are made and systematic rules are framed. That system is strengthened, and the change also is accepted but slowly and gradually. They also wanted to abolish the serfdom. They wanted to protect the king's rule, who believe that the kings are giving a stable form of government. The Congress of Vienna, hosted by Duke Metternich of Austria, who said that whenever France sneezes, Europe catches cold. Whatever happens in France, its effect is directly noticed in entire continent of Europe. And so this Duke Metternich, along with the nations, most significantly Britain, Austria, Russia, Prussia, they all went. We can easily remember these four nations with a shortcut of Bob. And these four nations, along with the Duke Metternich, they made the systematic redrawing of the map of Europe. Two objectives of the Congress of Vienna. The two important objectives of the Congress of Vienna. Number one, to restore the Bourbon dynasty back to the throne, to ruling. And number two is to do away or stop the changes which were brought about by Napoleonic wars. The expansion of territory which was brought into France by Napoleonic wars, they wanted to seize it. They wanted to put an end. How did they do this? In the east, Russia was given additional responsibility of Poland. In the west, Prussia was important territory. Saxony was given to Prussia. In the north, Netherlands was given additional responsibility of Belgium. In the south, Genoa was added to Piedmont. These changes were brought about, but 39 states of German Confederacy were left untouched. Giuseppe Mazzini, he was a revolutionary and an Italian journalist who played an active role in the unification of Italy. Born in Genoa 1807, became a member of the secret society Carbonari. At the age of 24, he was sent to an exile for being a part of the revolution at Liguria. He founded two underground societies, secret societies named as Young Europe and Young Italy. Young Italy, he wanted to make this change. Young Italy, please note it as Young Italy, and Young Italy at Marseilles and Young Europe at Bern, where like minded people of 40 or more. In English, it is said life begins at 40. After that, it is a trial and before that, it is a trial and error method. So, at 40, people are more planned, more matured, they take up more good decisions. And so, like minded people, men, men only, who sacrifice their nation, their self for the nation, who are willing to take up any role to protect their motherland. And this consisted of people from Poland, France, Italy, Germany, and many more states. Let us now study about the strange case of Britain, United Kingdom formation by incorporating Scotland and Ireland. The Act of Union 1707 was signed between England and Scotland. Scotland was a region very close to UK, that is Great Britain, and the Scottish people were not allowed to speak their language, Gaelic language, wear their national dress, have their celebrations. They were forcefully incorporated into the English region by Act of Union, and henceforth the British Parliament was dominated by English members, and the language which was their own language, Gaelic language, was not allowed to speak, and they were supposed to speak English. United Kingdom has incorporated Ireland. Ireland was a country deeply divided between the Catholics and Protestants. The English helped the Protestants of Ireland to impose their dominance over a largely Catholic country. Catholics revolted against the British dominance and they were suppressed. After a failed revolt led by Wolfe Tone and his United Irishmen in 1798, Ireland was forcefully incorporated into United Kingdom with the Act of 1801. This is the map of Ireland. The northern part consisted of Protestants and the Republic of Ireland was Catholics. Unionists and loyalists who for historical reasons were mostly Ulster Protestants, and they were Protestants. They wanted the Northern Ireland to be part of United Kingdom, to be with United Kingdom. Irish nationalists, those people who were Republicans, they wanted the country to be republic and northern part should not go away. That was their expectations. They wanted the Northern Ireland to be. They wanted to be with the part of Ireland, but Northern Ireland, it joined the United Kingdom and it became United Kingdom with the joining of Ireland Act of 1801. The Greek War of Independence 1821, supported by the people who were in exile. Number of people who were sent out of the country for being in rebellion, they were helping the protesters within the country. For example, Lord Byron in 1824, he raised money, he collected money to support their nationalistic struggle, the war. And there were many poets and writers within the country who raised the sentiment of nationalistic fervor, their sacrifice, sense of sacrifice for the sake of nation. Lord Byron died of fever in 1824. Fever. And finally, with the Treaty of 1832, Greece was recognized as an independent nation. Treaty of Constantinople. Today it is called as Istanbul. The Greek War of Independence, this independence started in 1821. Struggle for independence started in 1821. It was a region of Ottoman Empire. The Turkish Sultan, the nationalists of the Greece got support from other Greeks who were living in an exile. They were supported by people who could raise the nationalistic sentiments, poets, artists, writers, and all those people who were raising this nationalistic fervor. They wanted to protect their culture, they wanted to safeguard their culture and ethnicity. English poet Lord Byron, he organized fundraising to support the struggle. Finally, he died in 1824 due to fever. And in 1832, this nation, Greece, this Greek people got independence through the Treaty of Constantinople. So let us study about cultural movement. What is a cultural movement or romanticism? Romanticism is a cultural movement where the people struggled to safeguard their culture. So here in Germany, the German philosopher Johann Gottfried Herder, he believed that the true spirit of nationalism can be seen among the common people. Das Volk means the common people. The common people who participate in the struggle for the nation. Struggle for the nation. And Volksgeist is the spirit of the nation. Everybody who come together to safeguard their nation. Karol Kupensky was he used that he He expressed that the nationalistic struggle can be more in reachability, accessibility to the people through operas, through musics, through song, poem, dance, folklore. There were two types of dances which were used to express the nationalism, or which became the symbol of nationalism. They were Polonaise and Mazurka. They were Polonaise and Mazurka. We just studied about the Greek War of Independence and the cultural movement where it signifies more importance for the love through emotions, through mystical feelings. Here science, action, reaction, cause and effect relationship are not very important. They discourage this scientific uh, effort, and they give more importance to the emotions of the people. Cultural movement, if you take into consideration, in Poland language played a very important role there. How did the fathers struggle to safeguard their language? We shall see. Culture played an important role in raising the spirit of nationalism. This created the idea of nation through art, poetry, story, song, music, and dance to express the feeling of nationalism. It criticized the glorification and importance of science. It gave more importance, it focused on emotion, institutions, mystical feelings, the beliefs of the people. It believed that common culture, the common people who shared common culture, das Volk, their common historical background, their heritage, their beliefs were more important. The common man expressed his love for the nation. That common man is the Oak. And the spirit of the nation through which all these people, through different means, safeguarded the culture is Vogist. This helps in nation building. Language also played a very, very important role in nation building, and that's in Poland. The Polish fathers were not allowed in they were not allowed to speak the Polish language. Russian was imposed on them. Even in the schools, Polish was not allowed in Poland. The church fathers disobeyed this, and in 1831 they conducted the religious masses. We see the mass, the service 1, 2, 3 in the church, and when the mass was conducted in the church in Polish language, the fathers, church fathers, the clergymen were arrested. They were sent to an exile to Siberia, very cold country. Let us now study about the age of revolutions, 1830 revolt, 1848 revolt. 1830 revolt took place during Charles X. This period is also called as period of economic hardships. So when a question is asked about how do you find the situation in France in 1830, so 1830 was a period of economic hardships. Hardship is miserable, pauperism, helplessness. This situation where there was enormous, very high rise in the population, and also there were many job seekers, but employment was not there. People migrated to cities, and cities became overcrowded. Slums started developing, unhygienic conditions. There was stiff competition with machine made goods, and the producers had to face this. The feudalism, peasants struggled with manorial dues. They had to compulsorily pay the duty or the payment to the landlords. There was rise in prices. The basic amenities or the essential commodities were out of the reach of the people. There was food shortage due to bad harvest. All these causes led to pauperism or poverty. I hope the concept is clear. The 1848 revolt, if they ask about 1848 revolt, the board questions 1848 revolt in France. So this took place in the time of Louis Philippe. He is called as the people's king, who did not consider that the royal image has to be maintained. He walked in the streets, on the streets, shaking hands with the common people, but he could not control the prices. There was food shortage. There was widespread unemployment everywhere. People came onto the roads dissatisfied and questioning on the non-availability of basic amenities. They demanded for justice. When they demanded, barricades, barriers, stoppages were erected, and Louis Philippe, unable to control the situation, he fled, he ran away. The National Assembly proclaimed as a republic. Now everybody got right to vote. They had a right to vote or suffrage or franchise. Also, right to work was granted to the people. Now there were many national workshops were set up so that work can be granted to the common man. Condition during Louis Philippe time 1848. The Silesian Weavers' Revolt took place in 1845. 1845. Silesian Weavers' Revolt. The Silesian Weavers' Revolt took place in Silesia, where 18,000 of inhabitants they received orders from the contractors. The contractors were paying them very less for the work which is done. When the weavers approached the contractors, they were treated with the scorn, anger, SCORN. Scorn, anger, enraged weavers, they went and attacked the mansions or the huge buildings of the contractors. They broke open the window panes, furniture, and porcelain, and they claimed for rise in their wages or the payment. Another group marched into the regions where cloth was illegally stored. They tore the cloth into shreds, and the contractors ran away in helplessness. After 24 hours, they returned, and this time they came with army. Almost 11 weavers were dead. Can be expected only for 3 marks. The Frankfurt Parliament. Here, the first attempt was made to make the constitution. It was the All German National Assembly. Here, the unification attempt was made, and the meeting, which was convened or held at St. Paul Church on the 18th of May 1848. It comprised of middle class businessmen, landlords, artisans. Almost 831 elected representatives they marched into this hall, and they made the draft constitution. When this draft constitution was offered to the King William rejected and said that he cannot accept a constitution which is made by the middle class. The Frankfurt Parliament faced opposition by aristocracy and also military. Also, some of the demands of the workers, peasants, poor artisans were not taken into consideration by these elected representatives. So it lost its social order, could not give justice to the people, and so it was forced to disband. And the aim of Frankfurt Parliament in making unification, in offering the constitution to the king, remained a failure. I hope this is clear. And part 1, I tried my attempt to simplify this answers of nationalism in Europe, and I am coming with part 2 very soon. Thank you, children.